Hey whales, good morning. Happy Thursday. It is July the 17th. Let's recap the markets and go over Tesla here. So with that said, let's jump into Tesla, guys. And before we get started, though, we want to make sure we keep an eye out on Tesla seasonality. So typically in July, Tesla does really well, right? And even into August. Now, September is where we sort of taper off, and this is indicative of, typically what the S&P does historically as well. You can see as we go into September, the performances start tapering off a bit, and September usually is where, bloodbaths can happen or healthy pullbacks can happen, however way you want to look at it. And the reason why is institutions, they like to sort of reposition, rebalance themselves for September for tax harvesting purposes for the following year. Okay, so we just got to keep an eye out on that seasonality. And we also want to keep a lookout for the S&P 500 here. You can see we're on an amazing bull trend. However, I do see 5 waves coming through. 1, 2, this looks like a 3, 4, and looks like we're working on a 5th wave here. We have a wave 1, 2, 3, possible 4, one more higher before the markets decide, are we going to keep extending or get that typical 3-wave pattern down before extending higher? So this is sort of what a typical market structure looks like. You can see as well on the S&P 500, if we just take the inverse fibs, we are very close, guys. We are very close to my targets here at 644 to 695 for the S&P 500. So from current prices, about 3% away. So, could this sort of be that August, September timeframe where we sort of consolidate like a flag and then push up one more time? Very well possible, guys. All right, so with that in mind, with Tesla, what I'm seeing, though, is that it looks like it's trading in second dimension. So what is second dimension? Second dimension is essentially where it hasn't broken out yet. While S&P continues to push higher, Tesla is just accumulating. So when the S&P 500 actually pulls back, the money's going to flow back into Tesla, and that's when Tesla's going to start moving. So this is what I'm looking for, the S&P 500 rotation to happen into Tesla here. We saw it yesterday where Tesla started to push higher while the S&P was starting off red. So there is a little bit of hints and clues there that when, the S&P starts cooling off, look for Tesla to start breaking out of this accumulation to higher highs. Okay. And you can see the charts are calling for lower, for a 1-2 lower for a WXY correction, but I wouldn't be surprised if a wave 2 is already in, and this actually turns into a nest where we go a 1-2 and then a 1-2 and then a 3-4, 3-4, 5 higher. Okay, so building that base, guys, of accumulation. I like to think of it as sort of a lava getting rumbled up before sort of that eruption that's to come. Okay, now worst case scenario that I see is, if we take a look, worst case scenario for Tesla in terms of its worst month ever was negative 37% in December of 2022, guys. That's sort of Armageddon level, and you can sort of be happy because from current prices, if it does do a 37% drop, that's just essentially retesting the lows, guys. Okay, so very bullish, in my opinion, so far for Tesla, just accumulating here. Even if it does an Armageddon, I think these levels can hold for now. So let's see how things play out, right? And if you take a look at my targets, I still have targets at 405 to 464. So this is sort of my main target. You already know from my previous videos, this is sort of what I'm looking at for Tesla. I'm continuously accumulating here, and just making sure that I don't lose focus, right? Because I do think that Tesla is sort of the next one to sort of push up alongside other names like maybe Apple, healthcare, home builders, China stocks. These are all sort of lagging in getting ready for sort of the big push up. Okay, now I want to go over the worst case scenario. If these lows do break, then you're looking at 177 to 118. Now, I don't want to talk about this for now, guys, because this is really far away. I don't think this is going to happen. But, just in case, if it does happen, sort of you're prepared mentally that this is the next level of main support that you're looking at. Okay, but until then, I have Tesla still within a WXY correction. However, again, wave 2 can be in. It's starting to look pretty good to me. right? We're trying to sort of break out of this channel. So could it be doing something like this, right? Forming this triangle as well. So this looks pretty good to me, guys, for now. Let's see. I think it's just going to coil up until the earnings. And, typical move would be a 10%, 15% move. So that would just essentially test the highs and essentially test the lows here. So we don't know yet, but coiling nicely. Charts, again, are calling for lower for a Y wave for a 2, but I wouldn't be surprised. It looks more like a coiling situation where 2 wave can be in already. Okay, let's talk to you guys soon and see you at 400.